the eye of the heart, Ayn al-Kalb, spiritual eye, third eye. What you would call Khafi in Sufi terminology. Ancient sages have compared the inner world of man to a vast landscape needing exploration if we are to make real discoveries. Fariduddin, Atta traversed the 7 cities of love, half Ishq, we are still at the turning of one street, Rumi. Modern man has shifted his emphasis on exploring the outer world, even as far as Pluto. It could well be argued that as our knowledge of the outer world expands, the inner world contracts. You have grasped what lies in the sky but never realized what dwells inside you. Bulleh Shah notes 1. To support Rumi's quote, we could add another from Iqbal: Muhammad ascended to the highest heaven and returned, for us. I swear by God that if I had reached that far I should never have returned. The loss of primordial intelligence for the Eastern world, and for archaic people in general, the center of intelligence was never the rational brain but the spiritual heart. However startling this may seem, the intellect was originally considered a seeing faculty centered in the heart. It has now been reduced to a purely rational faculty situated in the brain. So pervasive has been the impact of Western philosophy and reductionist scientism that the original meaning of the word intellect is no longer retrievable in modern culture as a means of distinguishing the higher faculty from the lower one. When we say that the intellect was once a seeing faculty, we are referring to what Plato described as the eye of the soul, the eye of the heart in Islamic mysticism, the third eye in Hindu and Buddhist doctrines, or the inner eye, Chanti Ognata, in Native American beliefs. This is one reason why traditional sages are always called seers. Notes 1. Westerners of today no longer know what pure intellect is, in fact they do not even suspect that anything of the kind can exist, hence their disdain, not only for Eastern civilization, but also for the Middle Ages of Europe, whose spirit escapes them scarcely less completely. René Guénon. 2. The original meaning of intellectus in Latin Christendom was understood as something within man which has the capacity to perceive all of the world's diversity in its ineffable oneness, whereas reason, the translation of the Latin ratio and the Greek dianoia, perceives only differences and appearances. It is the office of reason to distinguish and define, says Plotinus in one of his letters to Flaccus. Reason divides and fragments reality, it sees only segments but not the circle. Imam Ali, A., and the Sufi tradition. Imam Ali, A., was asked by one of his companions, Tilab al-Yamani, have you seen your Lord? The Imam replied, I would not worship a Lord whom I have not seen. He was then asked, how did you see him? The Imam replied, the eyes cannot see him with a glance, it is rather the hearts that perceive him through the verities of faith. This mode of perception is referred to in Sufism as spiritual unveiling, kashf. It is to raise oneself above the realms of mundane awareness to a more profound level of perception. Spiritual unveiling leads to the vision of certainty, yaqin, and to the direct perception, ayan, of spiritual realities which dissipate the doubt associated with the rational and speculative sciences. Notably, this knowledge has its foundation in one of the deeper meanings of the Quranic verse 50:22, Thou wast heedless of this, now have we removed from thee thy veil, and piercing is thy vision this day. Imam al-Ghazali, d. 1111, arguably the most influential philosopher in Islamic history, was the first to insist on unveiling as the highest mode of cognition. The ancient Greeks refer to this as gnosis, or jnana in Hindu philosophy. Not only are they able to see the one, but they are also able to contemplate the one in the many, thereby achieving tawhid in its highest sense. Ghazali remarks that all divisions and plurality disappear as they are plunged in sheer singularity, al-fardaniyat al-mada. Notes 1. Are those who know and those who don't know equal? Quran 39:82. Almost all of the Sufi orders trace their origin back to Imam Ali, who is regarded as the highest spiritual authority in Sufism after the Prophet himself. Many books and articles have been written about the irfan of Imam Ali. Irfan is knowledge, but it is used in the sense of a special esoteric knowledge, mrifa, where knowledge turns into vision of the supernal realities. The Buddha was asked to describe his direct experience of nirvana, enlightenment, but he chose to maintain a noble silence. According to a Zen proverb, those who know don't tell. Those who tell don't know. Eknuktwik galmukdi. At this one point, all talking stops. Bulleh Shah. It became clear to me that the mystics were people who had real experiences, not men of words, and that I had already progressed as far as possible in terms of intellectual apprehension. What remained for me was not to be attained by study, but only by direct experience, and by embarking upon the mystical quest. Imam al-Ghazali notes 1. Nearly 1,000 years ago, a great Sufi defined Sufism as taste, because its aim and its end could be summed up as direct experience of the truth. To quote Rabi' al-Basri, only, the one who tastes knows. A traditional approach to faith in earlier times, faith was not based on logical proofs or rational arguments, it was something that needed to be cultivated through the rituals and myths of religion. The meaning behind religious dogma would only be revealed when one lived its tradition fully, embracing its mythology and rituals wholeheartedly. This attitude is foreign to modernity. Today people feel that before they live a religious life, they must first satisfy themselves intellectually of its metaphysical claims. This is sound scientific practice. First you must establish a principle before you can apply it, but it is not the way religion has traditionally worked. In the modern world, faith has come to mean an acceptance of creedal truths as objective facts. When people find that they are not convinced by the so-called proofs of God, they think they have lost their faith. Because their doctrines cannot be demonstrated logically and empirically, they seem untrue. Our Western modernity has led us to an entirely different notion of truth, and, as a result, we can no longer be religious in quite the same way as our ancestors. Faith was not considered an intellectual position in the past, its insights were more intuitive and similar to those acquired by art. The descent into consciousness through ritual disciplines of focus and concentration which have been taught in all cultures was a means of acquiring insights that lie beyond the reach of reason. I hope you enjoyed this video. Inshallah, I offer 1 month's third eye, Khafi opening Sufi methods course. Third eye, what you would call Khafi in Sufi terminology. I only use Sufi Islam dhikr, prayer meditation methods to open up the third eye. Khafi. The teachings are from the Naqshbandi Sufi order. What I have learned from my Murshid, spiritual guide. What I will be teaching you in this course. This course will be customized for each individual as everyone is not at the same roohaniyat, spiritual level. This course is perfect for beginners and advanced for any religion or anyone as it will be customized for each individual. Please visit my website for more information www.roohanimadad.co.uk.